All right, y'all, let's get moving. Let's do tonight. We can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. We're going to get to y'all as soon as we can. We got a few little business to get out of the way before we can get into the proposals. All right. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Can you get a second? Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the PATH contract, company contract. You want to go ahead and get a motion first so we can,
I'm sorry.
can I get a motion?
Second.
All right, discussion. Go ahead, Jim.
What you've got
See,
before
you usually correct me.
I know.
It's nice to be able to correct you.
It's not new though. My wife's backing it down, she's already correct. What you have is two things. If you go forward, I don't know if you're going to or not, but to do it, you have to adopt a resolution to do it. So I prepared a draft resolution, you got it here. If you want to adopt it, fine. If you don't, then you don't, it's fine, but we have it here.
So the resolution, approving the resolution is adopting the contract?
Yes, same thing. And the resolution is part of what we'll have to have for financing documents. We've been talking with Bank of America, and we haven't made any commitments. They're giving us some numbers and all. We're working on it. But if you adopt this, and if you go forward with the loan or the lease purchase, one of the documents that you have to show the lease purchase people is this resolution. So that's what we're doing. It doesn't say anything more than, you find it's necessary to make these improvements. You did a publication. PATH was the best proposer. PATH is approved by NDA as per the attached letter. We're going to attach that. So on and so forth. We're going to finance it by lease purchase agreements, and the board, the president and secretary are authorized to sign the contract, not the lease purchase, the contract. So if you adopt the contract, if you want to do the contract, that's what that is.
Okay.
The contract. I sent it out to all of you last week. I see Nathan's here, Russ is not, so I must have made him angry enough to where he didn't want to come down here and see us. But we spent several hours going back and forth, on a lot of issues. On all of the issues, the most difficult, on all of the issues that we had to have, that I felt like we had to have them move, they did. One of those was insurance. The question is risk of loss. If something happens to it, who lost it? Did we lose it or did they lose it? And that timing is a question. Whoever's got the risk of loss has to insure it. So I contacted Shorty and Joey Beatty, and we went through it, and it sounds simple, but it's not. But what it breaks down to is once we pay for it, it belongs to us. Whether it's installed, or if they purchase stored materials and they bring them on site and they give them to us and we pay them for them, then they're ours. The important point would be if a storm came through in a case like that and they're washed away, our insurance company pays us for them to put them in. We don't, we don't have to tell them, tough, you got to provide them again. Our insurance doesn't. Until we pay them for it, it's on them.
Right.
They agreed, they went to their insurance company and worked out builder's risk policy that they don't provide us to have that insurance. So that was technical, not difficult, just something we had to work out. There were some other issues, and Deborah pointed out some of them in an email to me, that were not live and die issues. They were just negotiation issues that you guys got to look at. The first, the most obvious one to me was, I questioned them on the section 179 IRS deduction. Just to sum up what that is, under section 179 of the Internal Revenue Code, you can deduct a lot of the cost of qualified energy efficient equipment like that. It's an incentive for you to do it. Well, we don't pay taxes. So, it doesn't do us any good either way.
Right.
But it's an asset to us. And what the law allows public agencies to do is, you can assign that deduction, qualifying stuff, you can assign that to your contractor in return for some kind of consideration. I called him out on that, and Jim Young backed him up on this. It appears the industry standard practice is when they're quoting a price to us about what they can put this equipment in for, what their costs are gonna be, one of the things they take into account is, okay, if they're gonna buy it for $9 and sell it for $10, they're only gonna make $1, but in the grand scheme of things, they account for, if they're gonna get this tax deduction, they take that economic benefit into account when they compute their overall price to us. Bottom line, they say the price that they're quoted to us contemplates they're getting that tax deduction. So what if the board doesn't give it to you? And they say, well, I mean, if they don't give it to us, they don't give it to us, we're gonna take a big loss, but I mean, you know, anyway. I wanted to get something in return for that tax deduction, and they said, you already got something in return for it. That's just a, you know, a negotiation of that. They still have the tax deduction in there, and apparently that is industry standard. When the tax deduction, we won't use it, so we give it to them or it just gets wasted, so.
And so what we're saying is, in that price you gave us, it's already incorporated in that price.
They were able to give us the price they were able to give us because they took into account they would get that benefit.
Right, and it's a forward-thinking tax credit too. I mean, Congress has to reauthorize it every year. It's not up, so it's in the future. It's not even something we can go after today.
Right. Yeah, I remember you talking.
That's right.
It's risky, you know, if Congress doesn't reauthorize it, they take a beating on it, but,
Right.
you know, they're big
We're
boys.
gonna take a beat on it too. We're gonna pay that amount to somebody, and we're already buying something. We're gonna pay something that's way, you know, we just don't need to add anything to this contract if we decide to move forward with it.
I'm trying to think, if any of you had any questions, and I sent you the contract last week and highlighted the provisions that we were working on. And we worked through all those. I'm not gonna drag your feet through every single one of these. If any of you want to talk about some more details, we can. The contract is, and I went and I met with Jim Young, and I have looked at the Wise Carter did one of these for the city of Biloxi. So I've compared, looked at those contracts. I got to look at another school contract that was done, I think the city of Biloxi's contract. They're all very, very similar. They're all the same. I don't, you know, this document is 98% same as those other documents. So I can't tell you that they've reinvented the wheel, or neither have I. I think it is a fair document in terms of what we're being offered. Now, the arithmetic, the price, that's above my pay grade. I have no idea what the price is worth. I don't know if it's worth $4,986,853 or $2 million or $10 million.
Somewhere in between.
I have no expertise in that.
Right. All right, so there was a couple of things that I wanted to assure that this contract would contain. We know there's 4 phases, and I asked you to make sure that the language was in this contract to where we can pick and choose which phases we want to do, and we're not penalized for not doing certain phases.
Yeah, we got that in there. What we have is, and this was part of the stress of getting it done so fast, is their prices are only good till November 1st.
Right.
So we have 4 phases. The contract, you have to give a notice to proceed on a phase. If you don't give them a notice to proceed, if you do nothing, you don't owe any money. It fails, it just stops. So phase 1, the base project, if you don't give them a notice to proceed by November 1st, it's over.
Gotcha.
Phase 2, which was the HVAC upgrades, if you don't prepare a notice to proceed and say, we want to do that by November 1st, that's over, you're not doing it. Phase 3, the quarrels, weaves, windows and doors, those things, you got a little bit more time. You got until January 1st to say, we want to do that or not.
Okay.
Same thing, you don't give them a notice to proceed, it doesn't. So if you never issue a notice to proceed, no matter what you do tonight, you don't have a contract.
We only owe them $45,000 for the study that they did.
Well,
That would be fair. I mean, I think it was in our agreement,
We didn't proceed with a project.
right, that we would pay for their time to produce the study that they did.
We told them we paid them for an audit.
Right.
And if we didn't go forward with the project, that we'd have to pay for the audit. Well, I mean, we're gonna sign a contract, but we don't do the notice to proceed. I'm not sure they get paid or not. We probably never get to that, so let's not worry about it.
That's why he's
And
already.
we might be able to negotiate a little bit on that too.
No, in fairness, yes,
Yes,
yes.
okay.
We'd pay them for the audit.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
last-
management fees, that was in here.
that is, I'll talk about the management fee. Let me get that. The audit, let me talk about the audit and then the what we call the management fee. The audit is, we call them do an audit. And if we don't do the project, we'll pay you for it, give us our audit, we'll go down the road. The audit is tons of binders and it's a lot of information, it's a whole bunch of information. It's not something we can attach to this document. Plus, a few school districts around the state, one of them that I talked to Lori about, they did this, they got the audit, this one in North Mississippi, not down here, they got the audit, and then they used it to go shop around with some other engineers and some other, to try to beat the price, and, which, that's bad enough, but then they didn't want to pay for the audit. Then they wanted to trade you guys, and they might even got litigation. It was up in North Mississippi, but, so that's obviously always a stress, that they don't want to give you their work product if you haven't paid for it. But we don't have to pay for it if we don't do anything. So they have to give us the audit, but there's a certain number of days, either 30 or 60 days, but after we sign this and agree to go forward with it. We're not going to make them put together those binders of information and give it to us until we're sure we're going forward.
Right.
But if they prepared it, we need to, it's one of our due diligence documents, we ought to have the file.
And there's a lot of good information in there. A whole lot of good information.
Yeah, and so, and we'll need it down the road, so we didn't have any problem, they said, yeah, they'll prepare it, they'll give it, so we will have the audit.
All right.
The management fees. That goes to the savings contract. Just, and very broadly, the savings, what happens in the savings contract is they're guaranteeing we have these savings. But for them to do that, they have to monitor what's going on every year to find out, are we making the savings or not, and what's going on or not. And it may be something as simple as they need to tweak some of their settings, or it may be something as simple as we disable some of the settings and we're leaving the lights on all night long. You know, we've got to do our part, and so they monitor it to make sure that everything is happening that it's supposed to happen, and if they don't meet their goals, they have to pay us.
Right.
You pay them for that monitoring fee. I think it was $7,500, $7,000 the first year. It kind of graduates up in some other years.
No, I saw another management fee.
Okay.
I forgot this so much. There's
Okay.
another fee in there. You highlighted.
It may be, I may not be what I'm talking about.
Everybody else see it.
But I know that management fee that you were just discussing, once we get 2 or 3 years into it and we think we're running fine, we can cancel that part of it.
That was part of the deal. What is also industry standard practice for a lot of these schools apparently is you make that contract terminable annually. And once you, just as you say, once you get 2 or 3 years, if you're making the number, just quit paying for the guarantee and quit paying to watch it. I mean, that's just wasted money. You're making your number. Some districts say, no, we want to pay it out. Many districts, after 1 or 2 years, say, no, we're not paying for a sure thing anymore. So we do have the option to cancel.
That.
Okay. This was, this is in the vulnerability stage. That's the phase 4. The last one, there were some things in there that they would do, and they would provide, that they got cost plus 15% reimbursement if they did for things, outside work that they had to bring in. If you brought somebody, they brought somebody in for their oversight and all, they got cost plus 15%. I was gonna strike that. To tell you the truth, I don't know where we ended up with it. I'll be candid. I didn't get back to it, and I didn't really think y'all were gonna do phase 4, so I didn't. Hey,
Which one was phase 4?
The last one, the $1,350,000 for Quarles, Reeves, Harper, middle vulnerability upgrades. That was the last part of it. And some of that stuff, I'm not sure qualifies under the project. I mean, when we got to do it phase 4, if you do it's gotta be stuff that qualifies under energy efficient measures. I'm not sure the door locks do. I mean, you know, we talked about those door locks on the ground, they're good security measures, but I'm not sure that they would qualify under our financing and all that. I mean, so when it came that time to do it, they might not be able to do, you know, they may not be able to do those things because they don't qualify on the project. MDA would have to approve it.
Right.
But I did not take that out. That is still in there.
Okay.
So, and that's tied to your outer phases, when you're buying equipment and stuff that's outside of the realm of the energy efficient. Yeah,
In the vulnerability part of it.
Right.
Let me go back.
so, all right, so that's something that, in this contract, so when we get to that 4th phase, when we have to make our mind up in, I think it's January, February, if we want to go forward.
It's the last one, it's February. Hey,
April.
April.
4th phase.
Is April 1st?
Yeah.
I think.
okay. It's after, it's not, yeah, it's on into the year, it's in the spring.
All right.
Yeah, April 1. I think I said January earlier, I made a mistake. That was
January's
April
the
1.
It's not
third
January.
phase.
It's windows, January's windows.
And that's the only phase that has that 15%
Yeah. it's not
additional
that,
fee,
it's
because
just-
that, y'all are overseeing the contractors that are putting that in.
Right, you remember that came at kind of the very tail end, and
Yeah.
ultimately came with the price, which we didn't believe it ultimately would cost that. And so
Right.
it's, you know, we figured we would be able, if y'all decide you ultimately want to do that, we could look back at how to address that at that point, if you decide you want to move forward.
And
We have to have a notice to proceed regardless to move
Right.
forward here.
Also, on the scheduled payments, it appears that, we will be paying 100% cost before it's completed. And I might have read that wrong too.
Well,
I should have paper clips on
now,
it.
now we,
You saw that one?
yeah, I spoke to them about that. They had it set up where they get so much percent a month.
Right.
And when we talk about it, I say, guys, we're gonna pay you 20% a month. What if you don't do any work that month? And Russ did point out, he said, actually, these percentage numbers are our estimate of what work we'll do. We don't wanna get paid for any work we don't do. We'll submit the bill for the work that's done, but we're just telling you, this is what we estimate for your own budgeting purposes. This is when we estimate you're gonna need the money. We went back and put some language in there to change that, to clarify.
That's not contractual what she's looking at.
We updated that to correct it.
Okay.
And they meant, we don't want you to pay us 20% one month if we do no work one month.
Right.
We're just letting you know, we expect in that month, 20% will be done, so be ready to pay about 20%. But they're still gonna have to provide the documentation on, you know, those things.
All right.
Okay, so is it saying 10 months this should be finished?
Yes, ma'am, which one are you?
I'm looking at the payment schedule, you know, starting with mobilization, 10%, month 1, 20%.
This is on phase 1? Yes, ma'am. So the goal would be to finish the base project, which is the energy project, well before that. And then if the windows, if you decide to move forward with windows and doors, the goal is to have that done by the end of next summer.
Okay, so the one that's saying the 10 months, that would be phase 1.
I believe that's what you're looking at, yes, ma'am.
Okay, because it's got to be either re-looked at or rewritten if we do decide to move forward, because you got the 100%, to me, the 100% should have come after the 10 months.
But he said that's not part of the contract, though.
No, I mean, we've changed that, but they expect to be done in the 10th month with all of the installation and equipment, and that's what it is. They expect, they're not gonna get paid for it unless they're finished with it.
Yeah, and when they're finished, they expect to get 100% of the pay.
They do. Right. They do.
Now, if we get into so we approve the contract tonight, we get into thinking about that 4th phase, and we just don't like that percentage rate.
And he might do it at that.
We just don't approve that phase.
Right.
And then if they want to renegotiate and go down to like a 5 or 6 or 8%, then that's up to them. If not, we just don't go with that phase. But we're not locked into that tonight, that phase.
That's right.
Only phase I want to lock into, which will be, the first thing I want to do is approve the contract. Now, by approving this contract, it doesn't obligate us to anything.
To me, it does. I just
No, we don't,
understand
we're
how
not
you-
obligated. If we pass the point to proceed, that's null and void. And we don't get charged, we owe them 45,000 if we don't do any of the 4 phases. So what I'd like to do tonight is get the contract approved, and then come our next meeting, when we know we have the finances to support this contract, that's when we give them the notice to proceed on phase 1, and
Well,
only phase 1.
yeah, but the thing is, okay, we're saying the finance approving, they're getting the financing, right? Is
No,
that- We're getting the
we're
Yeah,
getting-
financing.
we're
It's
doing the
us,
finance.
finance.
And with Jim Young and I dealing directly with Bank of America.
We're just paying them the bill.
Okay, well, after research, there's other areas out there that for finance, and we can talk about that too. Some
Yeah.
grants, lease, stuff
we-
like that.
Yeah, and we've talked to, MDA has got a program too, that you can go through in the,
Right. Yeah, they got
here's what I changed here, that's where we changed that thing. These schedules and payment installments are estimates for agency cash flow purposes. Actual billing amounts will be determined based on work completed and in progress, including materials delivered. Billing amounts are subject to change, available billing. So these numbers, we made clear, these numbers are just so we can estimate when we need money, not how much we're gonna pay.
Now, as far as the financing goes, that's what I depend on Amber, working to get the best rates we can get.
Well,
I'm not gonna get into the knickers of who we're gonna get to finance our.
Well,
Yeah, so you're right, MDA got a lot of money out there that we need to.
MDA's got a lease purchase program, Bank of America's got a lease purchase program, that they do tons of these.
And a grant.
And whoever
That's right.
gives us the best rate, and whoever can get it done by the next meeting, which is Thursday week, that's who we're going with. Because we got a November 1st deadline on getting that first phase going, or we're gonna have to rewrite the contract. So however we do it, we need to have it by the next meeting, which is next Thursday. Amber, is that doable?
Is
that doable?
Yeah, have you talked to Jim today? Okay, Jim, we had a long conference call with the bank, yes, it's doable. We explained to Bank of America, and I had not talked to MDA yet, but MDA usually works pretty well. Bank of America said it's no problem, they do billions of dollars every year in these programs. They've done Biloxi, they did Lowndes County, they did Harrison County, so they've done.
So we got examples out there of other school districts that use the same funding.
And importantly, in Mississippi, they know the Mississippi contracting law, so, and in fact, they sent me some form documents for me to go through right now, the lease purchase agreements, escrow agreements, and things like that, so, they're well into it.
All right, well, I feel pretty good with what we're doing tonight on the contract and the resolution.
I don't, Tim.
Well, you'll have a
Let me
chance
just-
to vote.
Can I say, well,
Sure.
I need to just say a couple more things, please. HVAC Phase 2, I mean, I know you said voting on the contract, but all that's in the contract.
I'll be honest with you, phase 2 HVAC, we'll do that in-house. I'm not gonna borrow money to go do AC work.
Exactly, because we're
So
gonna
that
get
will be
this
one that
in.
we will not go forward
But it
with.
shouldn't be in here.
Oh, because you asked for it to be in there. It was your idea to
No,
put
I
it in
did
there.
not, I said I didn't
It
see where
was.
they considered it, Tim.
And they did, they put it in there for you because we asked them to put it in there. I was in the meeting when we asked them to go out and do it and put it in here. Tell us how much it would be, and they did. And so now all we do is go say we don't want it,
Okay.
and that's done.
Yeah. And, let's see. I read in here where they were charged to actually do during the construction, instead of getting a temp pole, where you out power to build. Normally you get a temp pole, why are you all not getting a temporary pole?
Well, this isn't new construction, they're gonna be inside our buildings. They're gonna be replacing lights and stuff inside our buildings, so you wouldn't have a temporary pole to do that. We already have the electricity there. And it's not gonna cost, I mean, we're talking about changing out fixtures and stuff. So that is reasonable, more than reasonable.
Okay, I just have never understood why you gonna vote on something until you don't have everything in place, but.
Well, no, you got the floor. So if there's something that's not in place, you need to ask now.
Well, the thing is, you're saying, okay, we're gonna get the financing together. That's just like you say you're gonna buy a house or build a house, and then you're gonna go to the bank later. You're gonna get your finances together first,
Right.
make sure you have everything in place, what we're going with, and then move
And
forward.
that's what I said, when we approve this contract, we're not obligated them not one penny. We're not obligating them a penny until we do the notice to proceed. And that's when we're gonna have the finance in place. If we can't get the finance in place, we don't have a We're going to pay them $45,000 for their services and move on down the road. Because the thing about it is, the criticality of this is every month we continue to not do this, we're losing money. This is an offer where we're making money every month. This is paying us back from day one.
And we're spending a lot of it too.
No, we're gonna pay for phase one, we're not spending anything. Phase one is gonna pay for itself. And we're gonna make, what was the dollar figure?
First year is $41,000.
$41,000, and that includes debt service. You're taking out the debt that you're having to pay for the loan, and you're still making $41,000. To me, option one, we shouldn't even be thinking twice about it. That's $41,000, and every month we wait is that much we're losing, every single month. So the sooner we get this in place, the sooner we're gonna be saving money. It's not like it's gonna cost us anything, because it's not. When year one ends, we just made us $41,000 of capital that we can put towards other capital improvement. Or we can put it towards phase two, phase three, or phase four, however we want to spend that $41,000. We can do that.
Tim, can I add one thing? Deborah's making a good point, and I added in the resolution in section 2, it says, the acceptance of the proposal and the district's obligation to close on the contract, the performance contract and energy saving contract, are expressly contingent upon the district obtaining financing of the purchase and installation of the improvements pursuant to the terms of an acceptable lease purchase agreement. We come, if we bring you a lease purchase agreement next week and y'all don't like the numbers, don't close on the financing, the whole thing's void. You're not bound by the contract, because it is, just like Deborah said, it's contingent on financing.
Right.
You can only get the financing. Also, she made a good point, and it's not written in the contract, but it is standard operating procedures, lien waivers from subcontractors, that law changed.
Yeah.
Now, what is that, Jim?
There was a lawsuit that just a really brilliant lawyer brought 4 or 5 years ago challenging the lien stop notice law.
Mhm.
And when my lawsuit was upheld by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans, and it found the law unconstitutional, they changed it. And so the lien waiver law in Mississippi is drastically different. And so now you have to get lien waivers and subs, and this is a complicated process Deborah's right about. But every time we give them a payment, they're gonna have to sign get these lien waivers and all, just to make sure. A sub didn't used to be able to lien you.
Right.
Nowadays, now we're a public agency, so it's different, but nowadays subs can lien you if you don't give them the notice, so we will follow that procedure.
Is there any other concerns, Deborah?
Not on team, but.
I can have a motion to, we're gonna have to have a roll call, right?
It's a resolution, it should be, yes, sir.
All right, so we'll have a roll call on the adoption of the resolution to agree to the contract with Pat. And,
Aye.
it's okay.
Not bad.
We're good. All right, motion passes. All right, next item. Next item is adopt the amended budget for FY18. I think Jay would like to say a few words before we get started.
I would, and I'll be very brief. I just want to bring to the board's attention, I did this through a text message earlier in the week. We are closing out our books tonight, and that is what you'll be voting on the adopted amended budget for fiscal year 18. We're $1.8 million more in revenue than anticipated, and we were also under budget $1.1 million in our expenses for the year. So that money will roll over into our fund balance, which will give us a total of $14.2 million in our fund balance. And that does
He's
include
giving you
the $3 million.
Okay.
Yeah. The $3 million set aside.
So with the excessive revenues and the under budget, we come in with roughly about $3 million, 2.93 million.
And that's 3 years in a row that we've been under budget, so I did hire Amber.
You ain't getting no more money, so just forget it. I tell you what though,
So
y'all,
thank you.
people don't realize how good that is. because been on this board since 2005, and I couldn't tell you how many years we were in the red. I mean, it was just, we always wanted to just touch the black. You know, if we got close to that black, we felt good. And Jim, you went through those times. I mean, we got to the point to where we were saying, if we keep on this pace, we're gonna be out of money in 2013. Okay, now we're way out into 2018, and we're in the black, and the city's growing. We're having more neighborhoods and all coming to our city. I feel real good about Deborah, you know, our financials right now. Better than I've felt since I've been on here since 2005.
Yeah, and we want to still feel that way, that's why I need to make sure, I know.
Well, between me and you, we're gonna take care of it.
No, between me and you, I'm voting no on that contract because it's not right.
I put her down as voting no.
He
Russ.
voted-
Well, she just voted yes.
No, I didn't.
No, she didn't, she voted no.
No, I voted no, no, Kathy, nothing against you all, but I.
No, that's
voted
fine.
In fact, I wrote down.
That's fine.
And I tell you, that's okay.
Yes.
And we're gonna, when it comes back and we're saving all this money, we're not gonna say you voted no for it.
And
We're
you
gonna
can
say you
I
were right
voted
there
no,
with
but
us the
I
whole
said,
way.
You know, if we made that much money, I said.
No, I do appreciate your diligence in looking into it, but I really feel good about this, the first phase, and I think we're fine right now. I think we got ways that we can back out of it later if we need to. So, all right, well, did you finish with your?
I did, I just wanted to acknowledge that.
We just appreciate all of.
Yes.
I know it's a group effort, but, you know, it really feels good to be in that position.
Yeah, making that turn.
Do we need to adopt?
Yes. All right, can I get a motion to adopt that amended budget?
We're
Second,
gonna fight over who gets to make that motion.
all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
I'm hoping now, I'm hoping right against stuff.
That's excellent news. That is very
That
good.
is good, that did a great job.
All right, now I think we're ready to hear some good proposals for our new high school.